and scorenorth.com.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah. You know what? On the optimistic side, and I'm surprised Al Michaels didn't mention more of this. Maybe I missed it. If you had the Vikings +7, get the flag.
Oh, hold on. That's right.
That's a backdoor cover, my friends.
There you go.
There it is.
Not too much waving of the flag.
Yeah. My voice is teetering because I was screaming at the TV after all those turnovers in the first half. I wasn't screaming because the TV was bad. It's a great TV. It's a TCL, which is our presenting sponsor here on Purple Daily and Vikings Vent Line, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs, delivering the most entertainment, unless you were watching that game tonight in the first half, with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Learn more at TCL.com. Inspire greatness with TCL, an official TV partner of the National Football League. So this is the most fan-friendly, interactive, and once again, like last week, therapeutic show in all of Minnesota sports. It's Vikings Vent Line on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, and Declan Goff are here for you for the next hour plus. We're going to say our piece off the top and just give kind of our off-the-cuff thoughts, and then we're going to turn the show over to you guys, Vikings fans, so you can express your thoughts on this game. Vikings fall to 0-2. They turn the ball over 4 more times. That's 7 turnovers in the first 2 games. If you'd like to get on the show and talk about your feelings tonight, you can send a request to vikingsventline@gmail.com. That's vikingsventline@gmail.com. Declan will be monitoring the inbox. We'll get to as many of you as possible. Please keep it clean, okay? Let's keep it PG. There are kids who watch this show, okay? 0-2, Judd. By the way, that's 0-2 in one-score games after going 11-0 in the regular season in one-score games last year. The football gods have said, no more. No more.
2 consecutive very hollow one-score games, though, and this again, because you could make a very good case that they should be 2-0. That Philadelphia team, I think when Avonte Maddox went out tonight, was down 5 starters on the defensive side of the football. Yeah. Offensively, until they basically just said, screw it, we're going to run every single time, and rushed for an incredible 259 yards. Offensively, they were being booed off the field by their fans.
How about that, dude? And Eagles fans were raging
in the first quarter. They got no time for that crap, because the same thing happened against the Patriots, where they had to settle for a bunch of field goals. But you mentioned it. 4 more turnovers tonight, 7 in 2 games. Continually making, stupid mistakes where you shoot yourself in the foot. They don't look prepared. I'm sorry. They don't look prepared. You cannot turn the ball. And look, if they had 2 turnovers in 2 games, I think they have 2 wins. And I understand, like the Jefferson play, he was being aggressive. I hate that rule.
It's such a dumb rule,
But Mattison drops the ball. Kirk gets hit again because your offensive line is in shambles. Why Darisaw was dressed if there was no chance he was going to play, I don't have any clue.
You mean Darashaw, right?
Darashaw?
Yeah. That's a whole different thing. Herb Street doesn't, he knows less about
what's he doing?
The league than
who was more confused tonight, the Vikings offensive line or Kirk Herbstreit trying to figure out the Vikings offensive line?
You know what? Even Al Michaels getting confused at the end of the game over. He was clearly getting information about the Aaron Rodgers Instagram. He's like, yep, okay, yep. Like he had a hot mic going. It was just kind of a disaster.
Kirk's great on college, but stick to college, dude. You don't need to work. You don't need to work a pro job. But anyway, this is so frustrating to watch because it's self-inflicted. It's dumb mistakes. It's dropped passes. KJ Osborne again, and I know he caught a touchdown pass. He was wide open. We could have caught that pass, but the reality is, stop trying to make KJ Osborne happen in situations where you know what? I would rather throw it in double coverage to Justin Jefferson.
Wide open.
That drop was terrible.
I
But
know
anyway.
it is a terrible drop, but like, are you saying you shouldn't throw it to him when he's wide ass open?
Oh no, when he's open in the end zone, if he's wide ass open, that's fine. But that drop was another play where they're trying to treat him
Yep.
like he's the equivalent of Jefferson and Addison, and he's not. But this is just absolutely maddening because of the fact that this team is playing so frequently in 2 games stupid football, stupid mistakes. They are costing themselves games, and they're 0-2 because of their own stupidity.
All right, Dex, your thoughts. I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll turn. I can see who's going to be first already in the queue. I know who we want to go to first, but go ahead. You go first, Declan.
Yeah. It's just regardless of turnovers, and it's an incredibly frustrating game. And you can look at it a few different ways. The football gods are just really spiting the Vikings. You can look at it in so many different avenues, but this is an 0-2 disastrous start. It was the worst possible outcome for the Vikings, and here they are now having to stare down the barrel of 10 days to prepare, I guess, for Justin Herbert and the Chargers, but still, it's going to be an absolute dogfight to try to get some of these games back, and now you've dug yourself a just humongous hole.
Yeah, I think like losing the first game against the Buccaneers at home, like this game was chalked up as a loss for most fans, right? Most prognosticators, but losing that first game left you with a lot less leeway to lose the games that you were probably supposed to lose, and now you're 0-2. I guess, shame on me, because I just sort of, I don't know if bought in is the right word, but I just the Vikings brain trust decided, you know what? We're going to run back the same offensive line because we got a second-round pick on the right side, and we got a 25-year-old on the left side at the guard positions, and we think those guys are going to get better. We think, Bradbury's out. We think Bradbury has reached a new level. You put a backup in there because he's hurt. Some of that's just, what are you going to do? But I sort of trusted, all right, they think keeping the chemistry together and letting guys in their early to mid-20s get better within this system is the play. And then on the defensive side, the interior offensive linemen, not the edge rushers, the Daniel Hunter and Davenport we haven't even seen yet, but the down linemen. So Harrison Phillips, who had an egregious dumb penalty tonight, by the way, jumping off sides on a play where they were going to run the clock out. And then it's just kind of a bunch of guys like Dean Lowry. He's just kind of a guy in Green Bay. They are so weak in the middle of the trenches. And we can sit here and talk about, listen, Jordan Addison looks like an absolute home run in the first round, and Jefferson is going to flirt with Calvin Johnson's record. And, they've got some interesting pieces. Ivan Pace Jr. looks phenomenal as an undrafted linebacker. There's all these peripheral pieces, but they get blown away in the middle of the trenches. And I don't know that that's fixable on the fly this season. And I probably let them off the hook too much, just myself talking about this team every single day on this show over the last 7 or 8 months in the offseason. I feel like I didn't focus on that enough, and it's very obviously a problem against the first 2 opponents, more than I probably discussed. So with that said, you know what? I want Chansey and Fargo to come in here right now. I want him to light the Vikings up. I want him to light us up for not being hard enough on the Vikings. Chansey and Fargo, you're on Vikings Vent Line, man.
It is good to see you guys. Thank you. I was thinking, other than actually, I've been watching for a while. So with all the praise for Justin Jefferson, I've been thinking about what is the second most important position in football? Because I think we'd all agree quarterback is the most important position, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it is wide receiver, and I'm kind of starting to doubt it. I think like a big defensive tackle, like an Aaron Donald type that can create so much chaos right up front, right up the middle, is probably more invaluable. I've seen enough big-time wide receivers struggle. And, he is amazing. He's no Randy Moss. I'm tired of people talking about him like he's Randy Moss. He ain't no Randy Moss, okay? So let's quit with that. He's not changing any games. Fine, pay him like he needs to be paid, but he ain't no Randy Moss. But anyway, side note, are you guys like into poetry? I wrote a poem today while I was watching the game, and I thought I would read it.
If Chansey and Fargo is into poetry, I am into poetry.
Yeah.
We are into poetry.
Viking poetry. Yes.
Yeah, this is Viking poetry. I don't know if this is haiku or, what are all the different types of limerick or what. Yeah, anyway.
Limerick. Love me a good limerick. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start up. Let me tell you a story about Kwesi, the GM whose brilliant analytics only kind of seemed crazy. Draft picks like Seen and Booth were made by Mensah. But watching this offensive line play feels like having influenza. We thought when he cut Cook that the running back position he would devalue. But instead he re-signed Mattison and Ham and gave all the fans a big screw you.
Wow.
Cousins is getting thrown down like an everyday rag doll. And we're looking at noon games with Kenny Albert on the call.
Kenny Albert here. It's the Vikings and the Lions for the 52nd straight week.
Well, you get ready for it because we're heading in that schedule direction.
Yes, we are.
Vikings fans patiently stand and they do the Skol chant, while our offensive guards stand and look like houseplants. Meanwhile, Kwesi sits up in his highfalutin suite, while the Wilfs should kick his ass right to the street.
Wow. That was
Chancy coming through.
Oh, God.
Coming late
in.
night poetry.
Didn't
Feel
know.
like I'm in a coffee house.
Every time.
You guys have a lot of other callers, I'm sure. I just wanted to get my poetry skills in.
Thank you.
Very nice.
The talents of Chansey and Fargo, no bounds here on Vikings Vent Line.
On-air
luck.
production.
Yeah,
On-air
go
production meeting, just real quick here on Vikings Vent Line. We got like 6,000 people watching us, and we have a full green room, and I already got the alert that the room is full, so
Okay.
we're going to run through as many callers as we can. If I boot you out of the studio after your call, that's not because I'm booting you out from watching Vent Line. It's just simply to get more people into the room. So we're going to get to as many fans as possible tonight, but just want to make sure that's clear.
And wow, so thank you guys for staying up late here. This is going to be a therapy session here for Vikings fans 0-2. If you're new and you're just sort of stumbling into this right now, you're like, why are people reading poetry on this show? Click that subscribe button and the like button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. This is the place to be for daily Vikings entertainment and therapy in this case. So Declan, who is next on Vikings Vent Line?
All right, let's go to Joey next. Joey, what's up, buddy? You're on Vent Line.
Hey guys, big fans. I want to get through quick because I know there's a lot of people waiting. I have a few observations and then a few questions for you. So my first observation was, the investment in the run game was supposed to make this offense and unlock certain things of this offense that we hadn't seen before. And it's looking like complete miscalculations that I don't know are totally on Kwesi. I think the big thing for me was going back to even last year, they should have torn it down a little bit and probably look to stock up on some picks, stock up on some assets instead of running it back with a team that was destined to kind of explode and be a time bomb. And then I think I don't know if I can watch Kirk Cousins play. I know he's a top 10 quarterback. He's right around there, but his inability to sense pressure really puts the offense in such a tough position. I understand that he's this great quarterback. He's super accurate, and I'm with the Cousin Crusaders when they say he's a top 10 quarterback. He's right around that area. But if you want to, we're talking about a Super Bowl. You got to be able to handle pressure when the defenses get better. You got to be able to handle that interior pressure and move around. So I guess my question, kind of going from there, is where do you go from here? Are you sellers at the deadline? Are you trying to make a push for one of these top quarterbacks in the draft? Do you think we should kind of pack up and move on from this season, or do you think that some of these things are fixable because it's 4 turnovers, 4 fumbles that should probably not happen? I mean, where do you think we go?
Well, I think personally that they're going to look at this and that they are going to say, if we hadn't been so stupid and turned over the football 7 times in 2 games, we probably won both games. So, I don't think the Wilfs and I don't think the Vikings are going to look at this and say we suck. I think they're going to say we have played some terrible football. But keep in mind, if they had cleaned up the mistakes, they win probably both games. So, I don't see this as okay, we're done. And it's 2 games out of 17. And when's the last time that we saw, since the Wilfs bought this team, when a season has been not going well, when's the last time that we saw them truly dump? I mean, the Ngakoue trade the season that was made, we assumed, I think that was 2020, we assumed that was going to start a bunch of trades. It didn't. That was the only move that they made. So I think they're going to regroup, take 10 days off, and basically come away saying there are a lot of positives offensively. They certainly have to shore up the run defense, though, because you cannot win with that run defense.
Yeah, I think there's I'll just answer on the running game, like the Vikings offensive running game, which was Joey brought up. So that's the thing that's the most alarming here. It's only been 2 games, but you set out to run heavier personnel packages. You brought in the best run blocking tight end, according to PFF, in the NFL, and Josh Oliver, and you were going to make a concerted effort to establish the run and just do a better job running the ball. And so far through 2 games, you are averaging only 26 carries, by the way. Only 26 carries in 2 games. They've just bailed on it because they've been, like in this game, they were trailing. 2.6 yards per carry. So it's just been straight passing. And by the way, Kirk Cousins winds up with, statistically, box score-wise, which is kind of his career in a nutshell, one of the best statistical games of his career. 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 125.6 passer rating. So, I know that the fumble again can't really happen, but it's tough to say like, oh, Kirk Cousins sabotaged them or Kirk Cousins this. I mean, Kirk Cousins did a really good job hanging in there when this team fell behind, made some big passes, and they played catch up as best they could given the circumstances. So, all right, Declan, who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
Let's go to Jonathan here. Jonathan, are you on with us on Vikings Vent Line?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I have kind of like 3 quick thoughts on this game. KJ Osborne, you're wide receiver 4. We need to at least have some other people try out and see how they do at that position. The second one is the running game, both sides was terrible. But what I noticed on defense is they do well at the beginning because they know their gaps. But as soon as the other team changes and adapts, they seem to take a long time to figure that out. And it went back and forth a couple of times where they'd stop the running midway in the game. And then the third thing is this team is going to hang in with every team they face against, even if that team is a Super Bowl contender. It's just they're probably not going to win on those games.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Thanks for jumping on here on Vikings Vent Line. I think he's right. I saw a lot of people. The Vikings are 0-2, and there's a lot of fans, at least in my Twitter timeline tonight, that are just bailing now. I'm seeing Caleb Williams memes and stuff.
Right.
That's not what's going to happen here. And I know that I kind of said the same thing after the Buccaneers loss, but if you look at take away the turnovers for a second, which again, you're not going to turn the ball over once per quarter, which is basically what they're averaging. And the Vikings outgained the Eagles in this game 6.8 to 5.7 yards per play. Now the Eagles, the game flow probably dictated that they sat back in coverage a little bit, so the Vikings picked up some garbage yards there in the second half. But the Vikings have moved the ball in the first 2 games. They've got talent. They've got flaws, but they have talent. Unless there's a bunch of injuries, Judd, this isn't like a Caleb Williams situation right now. This isn't like a 3-14. They're gonna go on a run. They're probably gonna win 2 or 3 games in a row at some point. Mm-hmm. At one point, they started like 1-5 a couple years ago, right? Like, so I wouldn't be on the Caleb Williams train for discussion quite yet.
Yeah, I guarantee they're going to put a positive spin on the fact that they could have won both these games. What I think pisses people off, though, and this is where I agree, was this is not the Eagles anywhere near their best. Again, down 5 starters on defense, and with an offense that was getting booed off the field in the first quarter, the Eagles were basically begging you, you know what?
Yeah.
Give us a couple of knockout punches. And you didn't come close, and you fumbled the ball 4 times. That's what drives fans nuts, and I totally get that. But yes, I do not think that this team is going to try to trade Kirk. I do not think that they're going to dump on purpose. But I totally get the frustration because this was a game where it's like if you were ever going to get the Eagles at the ideal time, this was the game.
If Jefferson doesn't fumble that ball out of
You're
the end
leading
zone
at the half,
they might have won this game.
No, I know.
So,
That's
so
exactly.
it's like the turnovers are ridiculous and inexcusable, and there's a bunch of other flaws, and the Eagles ran for like almost 300 yards, and there's like all sorts of things. But even with the imperfections, the Vikings are good enough with even just like one less fumble in this game to maybe have won in Philadelphia, but they're 0-2. It's a tricky balance right now because I'm not sitting here saying this team is garbage because they're 0-2. I don't feel that way. But looking at the schedule too, even if you do sort of maybe you stop turning the ball over and you right some of these wrongs a little bit, is this too big of a hole given the fact that Mahomes is on your schedule coming up, Herbert's on your schedule coming up? You got tough road games like Green Bay looks like they're not going to be a pushover. So it's a huge hole, and historically, since 1970, only 9% of teams that start 0-2 wind up making their way to the playoffs. So that's what they're staring at right now.
Includes the 2008 Vikings, who lost the Colts in week 2. They lost their first game, and then they came back with my guy Gus Frerotte. Okay, so there's always hope.
Yeah, maybe Gus is maybe
Gus is
Gus
available.
can come in here and bail this team out.
Coaching high school football. All right,
Dex. Who's next? Vikings Vent Line on the Purple Daily YouTube channel.
All right, let's go to Mark in Minneapolis next. Mark, what's up, buddy? You're on.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, great. So, first of all, I just want to say to Vikings fans out there, you have a lot of other good things in your life. So, don't give up hope. Because
this is great. This is what we need here.
This shouldn't be like the only thing, Anyway, that said, we got to start wondering about this regime's lack of attention to addressing the biggest problem of this team, and that's the offensive line. Hope isn't a strategy, and I think they were hoping that a lot of these guys were going to work out okay. And again, like I said, hope isn't a strategy. So I'm wondering where we go from here. This isn't a quick mid-season fix. So I don't know. I guess that's my big thought and takeaway from tonight. It's not, it's not a death knell, but pretty darn close. Anyway, thanks for the time, guys.
No, Mark, thank you. Some perspective there. That there are other things in life than Vikings football, but I don't know that applies to this audience necessarily.
What?
I think.
What else is out there?
I know.
What good is there left?
I mean, we talk about them every day, even in like June. So it's like it is our lives. Exactly. But I don't know. I mean, where do you go from here? I see a lot of people. You got to sign Dalton Reisner. I don't know that Dalton Reisner is like. Why is he still available? Now, from a depth perspective here, you've got injuries all over the place. Oli Udoh looks like he blow his knee out on that play.
Or his ankle
depth
went.
Yeah.
Something went. Yeah, so I think in the next week they're going to sign a guard. And I think they're going to seriously look at Ingram's replacement. I mean, they have to at some point, because it's not just hope, it's hubris. It's like, well, we drafted him. We're going to give him a chance. Okay, at some point in time, you have to pull that plug. Yeah. I have serious concerns about Schlottman as well, who at times, and look, that Eagles D-line is legit. They're really good. But I mean, Austin Schlottman was relocated to New Jersey a couple times tonight. So if Bradbury's going to be out, and I think he might be for a stint, I think you have to look there. I mean, and yes, you're right. It can't be a work in progress, but you also can't just sit still now.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what you do. I mean, the interior of that defensive line, I don't know what you do there.
But here's the other thing too, like just pet peeves. Well, that's the best defensive line you're going to face, and you're not going to face defensive lines like that every week. You know what though? But if your goal is to win a Super Bowl, exactly. And to improve off of a 13-win season, and that's the goal, right? Go win a Super Bowl and go beyond where you did last year. Those are the types of defenses that you have to deal with, and you have to find a way as a line, as a quarterback, like to not get strip sacked, to not allow your quarterback to get strip sacked. So let's keep it rolling here. Vikings Vent Line, Purple Daily YouTube channel, Dex.
JJ, what's up? You're on Vent Line.
Yo, gentlemen, thanks for having me on. Love the show.
Hey,
great
JJ.
Content. Just a tough loss. I'm still scoring from 2017 going into Philadelphia. I'm right out here in Willingboro, New Jersey. So right across the bridge from Philadelphia. I just
Schlottman
wanted to say,
flew by you.
my takes and my thought process on the Vikings usually aligns with Mackey, more of that analytical mind, but I don't let it tell the whole picture. I just want to say that Kwesi, you gotta go. Complete bust. Not addressing the offensive line when we all sat back here knowing that Kirk Cousins is not a Jalen Hurts, a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen. He can't escape pressure. For you not to address the offensive line is criminal. We're going to face defensive lines that are just, they're not as dominant as the Eagles, but big guys, those dogs, those hogs up front. And it's a shame because I have so much passion for the Vikings, and I really every year going in, I'm like, this could be the year. Like, we have the talent, KOC, like the innovative young play caller. But yeah, gentlemen, keep doing the good work. I'll keep watching. I hope to be on again.
Awesome, man.
Thanks,
Hey, JJ, thanks for coming on. What's just a quick your take on Kwesi here?
Oh boy. I really wanted to give him a long opportunity, like more than this, but I'm going to tell you right now, when Josh Metellus gets hurt and Theo Jackson comes in and Lewis Seen can't sniff the field, when a Caleb Evans gets hurt and you rush him back in because Andrew Booth Jr. can't play, like, that draft is now just a bust. Like, there's no, you're not coming back from this. I mean,
Ed Ingram.
And Ed Ingram, exactly right. And Asamoah played more snaps tonight, but it's still, I mean, he's not Ivan Pace, who was undrafted. Yeah. And yes, the offensive line, I mean, the interior of the offensive line, we had some faith that those guys would improve, that they saw enough last year, and it hasn't changed. So I'm losing. I've lost confidence. He now has to win my confidence back.
Yeah. My question I think I asked it on a scoop session on the Mackey and Judd show and the Score North YouTube channel or other YouTube channel a couple weeks ago. I asked you guys, hey, so we all agree Hawkinson was a good trade. Second rounder for a franchise tight end. They locked him up long term. That's Kwesi's best move.
Right.
And I asked you guys, what's Kwesi's second best move as Vikings GM? And I think there was like 30 seconds of silence while everyone went through and racked their brains. I don't know. I still don't know. What is his second best move?
Might be Pace right now.
So an undrafted free agent
who is scouted by not him. So like he gets credit, but it's not like he went and found him. But yeah, no, you're right. It's concerning. It's very concerning.
Yeah, I'm not ready to call for heads necessarily yet. I do have a good hot take for tomorrow, for a little tease for the hottest take.
Yeah, not till tomorrow when you call for his head.
9 o'clock 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time will be our live Purple Daily tomorrow morning, by the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
But I think this 2022 draft class, with only it being 18 months old, is potentially already on track to be the worst draft class in Vikings history.
Oh,
I think it's entering that, and I guess there's two sides of that coin. It's the NFL where, like, all right, you have a bad draft class. Like, the Vikings aren't. I know they're 0-2 right now, and things are doom and gloom. Like, it doesn't shipwreck you as a franchise, but that is, I think, going to go down as one of the worst draft classes in Vikings history.
I'm going to give you one. 2005 is worse. So Two first-round picks. They were both complete busts with Troy and Erasmus. I agree that, like, I wanted to have more patience, but when guys who are first and second round picks can't even sniff the field, Declan, I don't disagree with you. I mean, it looks like a terrible draft.
Yeah. Hey, before we keep going with this football therapy session, this might be a good time to tell you guys the Purple Daily is sponsored by BetterHelp. So while we give out football therapy on this show, actual therapy has helped me personally. I know I don't want to speak for Declan, but we talk pretty openly about deaths in our families and whatnot. And so actual therapy has helped me a lot in my life, whether it's, think like the times where your mind is racing. And sometimes as a guy, too, it's like, society dictates that you shove all that stuff down. Well, one great way to make racing thoughts go away, to just help you sort of focus on getting back on track mentally, is therapy. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. They're here to help you, much like a football coach, unlock parts of your brain and your game. Think about like the best football players, the JJs and whatever. They still need coaches to get them to be the best version of themselves. And that's what therapy can be. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/purpledaily today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/purpledaily. Also a shout out to our friends, Judd, at the Minnesota Lottery. Though, you know what? Yeah, you're never going to be a loser on the level that
right.
the Purple have been these last 2 weeks with those scratch-off tickets, all right? There's always a path to victory.
In fact, if you're down on the Vikings right now, which is very possible, and I don't blame you one bit, the new Lottery Viking scratch game, it's the official scratch game of this team, and you could win up to, get this, $100,000 or second chance prizes, including season tickets or an away game trip. That is officially exciting, and that is what the Minnesota Lottery presents you with an opportunity to do. Just say, I'm in, must be 18 or older to play. So the Viking scratch game can make you feel better about this team, but you got to play to win.
Yep. All right, let's keep it rolling here. We're a half hour into this therapy session here. Vikings lose 0-2. Who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
Austin, what's up, pal? You're on Vent Line.
Gentlemen.
What's up, Austin?
How you guys doing? I know I'm not great, but how are y'all doing?
You know, I mean, all right, I'm gonna be candid here for a second.
Give it to me.
I always start, like, if things start to go off track, I'm always, in anything, in football, Vikings, in life, I'm like solutions guy. I'm on to the, like, well, okay, what's the next thing? What can we do? So I was already pulling up 2024 mock drafts during that game.
Right.
I look for solutions, and that was, like, in the moment, that was my solution.
I don't think that's a solution, Phil. I think that's being resigned to failure.
Well, that's
a solution would be one of the
ways
moves
to look
get
at the
this
same
team
glass
back
of
on
water.
track.
BetterHelp.
To start. BetterHelp.
That's
Why don't you call
BetterHelp.com/purpledaily.
Good idea, Declan. Sorry, Austin.
No, you're good. I like that you said solutions, because that's the one thing I didn't see tonight, and that is what drove me bonkers the entire game. Was, you know, I was texting my brother. He was at an event, so I was sending him score updates. I kept saying, first quarter, defense looks great. And then they started running the ball. There was that drive where they ran 13 different times, just drove us down the field. And I was like, well, defense doesn't look great anymore. There was no solution. I love what B-Flow is doing. That was a great first quarter. Even, you know, Tampa Bay, obviously they looked gassed. They were definitely getting gassed this game too. I wanted to see more solutions. And what I really hate is that they almost had one, that they were fighting back. They gave me hope at the end. And then, like Declan said last week, fart noise. I was so disappointed. I wanted a solution. I wanted an answer for, you know, just the Eagles winning. They responded to us when we had them, and then there was nothing. So I'm frustrated. I want to see more adjustments. I think KOC and B-Flow got a good thing going on. I'm definitely skeptical of Kwesi right now. I still have good faith in KO and B-Flow, but they got to have more answers. They got to find more creative solutions. You can't just adjust one time, come back, score a bunch of points. You got to be consistent on both sides of the ball, or all sides, because we have the special teams fumble too.
Oh my God. Yeah. Austin, thank you, man.
Austin.
Dude, 40.
That's something else.
48 rush attempts for 259 yards. That is taking your soul in a football game.
That Brandon Powell return was to like I think it was the plus 35-yard line, and he fumbles the damn ball. And here's the thing. So this solution is going to sound simple, but it's absolutely true. The solution is hang on to the damn ball. Fumbles aren't flukes. Like, one fumble might be a fluke. 7 turnovers in 2 games, that's not a fluke. Killing yourself.
It is a fluke, though, because you're not going to fumble 7 times in the next 2 games.
But you told me, but you told me after week 1 that they wouldn't fumble 3 times again, and they fumbled 4 times.
Okay, but
you've got to protect the ball. But you aren't protecting the football. It's the most important commodity on that field.
Correct, but in terms of this is my point. In terms of predictive things, okay, I told you after the first game they're not going to fumble 3 times a game, and then they come out and fumble 4 times. So I was wrong, obviously. But I would continue. Like, if you wanted to bet again every game this season, if you think it's predictive and you think that they're unprepared. They're fumbling because they're unprepared, or they're fumbling because of whatever other reason.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, dude. They're not going to fumble 7 times in 2 games.
Right, but you've
the
lost
next 2.
But you've lost 2 games because you didn't protect the football.
Correct. But if we're looking for things that are going to carry over as themes the rest of the season, like, do you think they're going to set the NFL record for fumbles? I don't. So I'm looking at other things. There's other things that I'm more concerned about than Brandon Powell dropping a ball on a punt return.
Boy,
I'm more worried about
games.
trenches. I'm more worried about 259 yards, a 13-run drive down your throat over the course of 20 minutes of game time, for God's sake.
The problem is in those 7 turnovers in 2 games are the direct result. They are the biggest result of why you are 0-2 instead of 2-0.
Agreed.
And you're not going to get those 2 games back.
Agreed with that. Yes.
Like, those were 2 games that were sort of gift wrapped again. Like, if you protect the football, those are sort of 2022 games, right? This Eagles game, they did not play a good game. They basically were trying to gift you this game, and you're like, we're good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did play a good game in that they ran 48 times for 259 yards down your throat the entire time and stopped your run game.
But early on, you had your chances, and that's what frustrates me.
Let's go back to the vent lines here. Vikings Vent Line on Purple Daily.
Nunu from California. Nunu with his Vikings beard. What's up, pal?
Hey, man.
We can't hear you.
Nunu, you got us?
Is he on mute?
He is not on mute. Let's see again. No.
Let's put Nunu back in the green room here. Okay.
Well, in the meantime, great beard. In the meantime, let's go to Corey from Iowa. Corey, what's up, pal?
Hey, guys. What's going on today?
What's going on, dude?
Man, it's another sad loss again. I got a couple things to talk about. Starting from the top, I think Kwesi, he's had 2 drafts that are terrible. They're terrible. You like you said, Jed, you can watch it. It's probably the worst draft they've had. I think Kwesi, he's an analytics guy. Numbers. I think after a while you need a guy that knows football players. He can this guy can play football. He came from the 49ers. But he wasn't the guy picking the players. He may have been in the room, but he wasn't the guy picking the players. Lynch and all them guys that played football, that know football, pick football players. And they know how to work with football players. He is a numbers guy. If you need him to cut some money for you and everything else, he's your guy. But you need football players to get to where you're trying to go. And he does not understand that, does not know that. I think KOC, he's a nice young coach, but he's nice. I think we have one of the worst or one of the weakest offenses that we have. We're so inconsistent with the players we have. We should be dominant on the offensive side. You watch all these other teams with these receivers, less receivers than what we got, less talent than what we got, and drive the ball down the field when they need to. Not when they're down 2 touchdowns or we turn the ball or whatever. No, they put it out there and they go right down the field and they score. I know our offensive line is garbage. Defensive interior line is garbage, and just like that, just like football players, you get rid of Cook, Mattison. I think in 2 games we don't even have 60 yards of running.
No, it's it is 69 yards on 26 carries, which is still horrible.
It's terrible, and you get rid of Cook. I understand Cook was long in the tooth or whatever. He, a little bit of an injury prone. You got to pay him money and all that, but you don't bring anybody else in worth anything. Madison's not an every down back. He's just not an every down back. That should be known at the last 2 games. He's not an every down back. He may be aggressive, but he's just not strong enough to do an every down back. I know we won't be able to get him, but somebody like Jonathan Taylor, I know, somebody like that, where we need somebody strong that can get the ball. I mean, Swift came from Detroit, and that was probably his career game this year, tonight. He ran through us like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I think with just the receivers we have, Hawkinson and everybody else, we should be able to, score at will. And we go through these points of the game where we just don't do anything. We don't score. We 3 and outs. The turnovers alone are killing us. But other than that, we just got to do something. We got to be better than what we're doing. Okay, yeah, we might beat the Chargers, maybe. And then, Panthers. Okay, so now we're 2-2. Then we play Kansas City. I feel if we go under 500 this year, Kwesi needs to be fired.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be fired. KLC, he has to be more aggressive. He has to be more aggressive in showing he has a good game. He can talk a good game. He can talk a good game, but play calling and being aggressive on offense with the weapons we have, Justin Jefferson, for one reason, I don't understand how he's not signed. Why would just get this guy his money and get that out the way? Because I think it's going to get bad if we go under 500.
So Corey said, and Corey, awesome points,
Great
dude.
stuff, Corey.
Thanks for coming on the show. I want to see Corey again for sure. He said something early in his takes about Kwesi being kind of a numbers guy, analytics guy, but not being necessarily. And Kwesi says, "I'm not a football guy. I've learned how to scout a little bit, but that's not where I come from." That was the biggest question for him. Is okay. You can look at a series of RAS scores and sort of profile what a guy's measurables look like compared to other successful players, but at the end of the day, are you able to sort of look under the hood and see, can that guy play football? And the fact that, like Lewis Cine, Judd brought it up earlier, Lewis Cine is the 5th safety on this roster right now. Probably wouldn't have made the team if not for the guaranteed 3 years left on his contract.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he had been drafted in the 7th round in 2022 or the 6th, he's gone, I think.
Yeah.
But the question too, just to go a little deeper, is Kwesi has football people, but he has a guy like Ryan Grigson, who we don't talk a lot about, who had a very interesting stint with the Colts when he was GM.
That's one word.
And got
for
fired.
It.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't he like one of the? Andrew Luck's career ended early because of that offensive line.
Which Grigson was in charge of. So I mean, the question is like, who's doing what here? I do fault Kwesi for Ingram because somebody said we got to give him a chance. Okay, he's now at 20 games.
Yeah,
he's played 20 meaningful games. He just can't play. Yeah. And if he ever can, it needs to be done off to the side. Let's bring him back when he can, if he can play. So yeah.
By the way, if you're hanging out with us here still, thank you very much. We're still going to keep rolling here on Vikings Vent Line. Please click the subscribe button and the like button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, and we will all continue to move forward here together. It's only 2 games in, and everyone's all bent out of shape here. I totally get why, and that's why we are here. Who's next on Vikings Vent Line, Declan?
DeMarco, what's up, pal? You are on Vent Line.
Hey, man.
What up, guys? It's always good to see you guys. How you doing?
Thanks for coming on,
it's
dude.
obviously not a good night tonight, as I'm always on when it's not a good night. But I got a couple of things. I know you guys kind of point out a lot of things, but yeah, main things I want to say is it's so concerning to not see Lewis Cine out there. To see Theo Jackson come in after a guy like Josh Metellus that we didn't even know he could really step up like the way he is. And and then no Brian Asamoah as well. That's also, Ivan Pace Jr., I am glad we have an undrafted free agent. We were able to find Ivan Pace, but to not see Asamoah out there, that's also really concerning. So, yeah, just that whole draft, like you guys are saying, shot. Another thing, these last 2 games, honestly, the Vikings had just brought a double barrel shotgun and just shot themselves in the foot.
Yep.
They literally, both these games, we could just say we won this game. We could have won this game, but we just shot ourselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm going to be at week 5 versus the Chiefs. I don't know how that game's going to go, but I know I will be drinking a lot of Surly before I die because I do not know how that's going to go.
It doesn't appear that they're going to get one this season at this rate here. So the Before I Die might have to extend into 2024. It's early. I'm not going to call it yet, but we'll see.
I'll bring a pack while I'm out there. We'll make it work. And the last just couple things, just kind of while I'm throwing out there is Addison, number 2. He's the clear number 2. KJ Osborne, he doesn't even look like he can get open. He can't even get open. I'm sorry to say it. Like, being in training camp is so much more different than being on the actual field, and now you're playing the full game. So, it's just complete different. And those are, honestly, the main. Oh, one more thing. Didn't you guys feel like Kirk was getting hit in the helmet a couple times? Because I did see Jordan Davis hit him, and they just weren't really throwing nothing. So
they didn't throw flags. They're on the Vikings touchdown to Osborne.
Right.
Quisenberry, who took over for Udo at left tackle, he basically hog-tied the guy he blocked, and they didn't even call it. They didn't call a lot of stuff tonight.
Right.
So
all I got to say, guys, I appreciate everything you guys do for us. For us Vikings community. Again, if we lower the turnovers, we know we can win the games. Literally just lower the turnovers. That's the the memo.
Yep. DeMarco,
Thanks,
great
DeMarco.
stuff, man. We'll see DeMarco again. Yeah, and that's kind of what I keep saying, which is like, yeah, there's all these things that are alarming even without the turnovers, but like, my God, if you turn the ball over once per game, which is what you would ordinarily do, you're probably 2-0. What do we do with that? We kind of debated like 10 minutes ago. Let's keep rocking here. Vikings Vent Line on Purple Daily.
Let's try Nunu again. Nunu, do you have us this time?
Hello.
Yeah, we got him.
Got you,
We got
Nunu.
Nunu.
Awesome. Thanks for getting me back on here, guys.
Yeah, man.
So much to say. I'm a huge Vikings fan, and I became a fan in 2012. Adrian Peterson got me, started to be a Vikings fan. But just seeing this team and where it's gone is just, freaking seeing how tonight started off. I wish AP was back there. I really wish AP was back there. And the fact that I had been pounding the desk for Alexander Mattison over Dalvin Cook the last couple of years, because he's a good back. He's able to get elusive. He's able to get extra yards. We saw it in the Bucs game. He was able to catch a little screen pass and, get in for the touchdown. But the fact that, he's having these offensive line issues on top of that, it's kind of like a domino effect, like these, the offensive line is just in shambles right now. And Darisaw not being out there really hurt. I'm not a big Oli Udoh fan. I'm sorry to say. Haven't been high on him a lot for the last couple of years. Where was the timeout, by the way, during that drive when they were just running the ball down our throat? That would have been
That's a tough one because I think a lot of coaches, even when that's like in the NBA, if a team is kind of just running it up on you, you call timeout to break their momentum. In the NFL, they view those timeouts as just they want to have all three at the end of a half in case you can get another drive out of it. So he was probably weighing, boy, my defense is gassed and is getting bowled over, but I also want to hang on to these timeouts. Like, that's tough.
Yeah, no, but it just felt like in basketball, I was going to use that exactly. Like, kind of just layup after layup. It's like, okay, let's get back to the drawing board here and let's see what's going on. Ivan Pace, I'm a huge fan of, but he was just looked oversized, and it was just he was getting pushed back so much. The fact that Lewis Seen, did not sniff the field, I was huge on. That didn't happen, so. Just shooting ourselves in the foot, and this team has so much potential. There's so many skill players that we have, and Addison is turning into a superstar before our eyes. He's filling the boots of, Thielen, so it's just tough to see, and Brandon, Powell, that just hurt. That hurt, and I have a little Vikings horn over here, and I was hoping I was going to be able to blow it at the end of the freaking game, but that's all I got.
That sounded way different than I thought it was going to sound.
Close the gap a little. It's a little.
It's a little high.
You know what? That's the noise that the Vikings made tonight. You're like, oh, here comes a big baritone. No, it's.
Thanks, Nunu.
All right, Nunu. Thanks for coming on, Nunu and Callie, with his little Vikings horn.
Speaking of timeouts, what was the deal with the clock stopped late in the first half on an incomplete pass, and the Vikings must have been so disorganized, O'Connell called a timeout. He didn't use it to stop the clock.
That wasn't the goal line
No,
situation.
it was around midfield, I think. Okay. And it was an incomplete pass, so you didn't have to be concerned about the clock running. And Kirk went to the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden you could see he was sort of ticked off. O'Connell had called a timeout.
Yeah, I remember the one on defense where the Eagles were on the 1 yard line or the half yard line, and the Vikings, I think the Eagles were trying to run no huddle to keep the Vikings personnel on the field because the Vikings had one defensive lineman on the field. So the Vikings called timeout, but it's like, I get it. You're going to call timeout to put some defensive linemen in there, but they're just going to punch it in anyways. What? So you're just wasting a timeout.
Oh, and they push Fields into the end zone.
Hurts, yeah.
Or hurts.
And the fans get all, every time there's a 3rd and 1 or a goal line, the fans get all excited. Oh, we're just going to push him.
They know they're just going to push him.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Vikings Vent Line, Purple Daily YouTube channel.
Paul, what's up? You are on Vikings Vent Line.
Hey, guys. So speaking of therapy, I don't get to see my shrink again until Tuesday.
Oh.
And the cruel fate of a Vikings fan, he is an Eagles fan.
Oh.
So I'll get faux empathy on Tuesday. So instead, I'm here tonight with you guys. I love your show. Love you guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Your mantra before I die, unfortunately, is becoming all too true for me. I'm a few years older than Judd. And so the runway is getting shorter. And cried like a little boy when old man Willie Brown intercepted Sir Francis in Super Bowl 11. So I officially canceled I'm on the East Coast here. I officially canceled my NFL Sunday ticket.
Oh, wow. Wait, tonight?
Tonight. I canceled it.
Wow.
I didn't need it tonight because it was on NFL, on Prime, but
right.
For the out-of-market games, I'm just going to listen on the radio. I'm going to say $400.
Wow.
I was a big Kwesi fan. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was a good hire. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt like Judd, but here we are. And what was the one takeaway from the Prime NFL quarterback series that you had about Kirk? Is that he just got punched in the gut every single game, right through the guards and over the center. Now, maybe Bradbury didn't get forklifted as much, but it was just it's a sieve. And so coming into this season, what do they do to fix it? Absolutely nothing. And I think that is the most disconcerting thing, because that's something that it's not that complicated. And here we are, and it's not fixed.
Yeah.
Now, I agree, Phil, that fumbles are not predictive. I mean, it's not like flipping a coin, however, because I think there is some psychology to it. You know, you think you're fumbling, or you press, or you're 0-2, and you're really – so I do think a team can take on a character for a season, and I'm worried that we've got the bug. And it'll be difficult to shake. So
yeah,
I'm going to suffer another season and see what.
But
happens.
you're saving money.
Wow. Yeah, at least
you're
Paul
saving all that money. Paul, think
$400.
about it.
That's great.
Think about all the stuff you can buy now because you don't have to torture yourself.
Buy this jersey that I got last week.
You can buy more out of network therapy as well. It'll
there
be
we
great.
go.
Yep.
There we go. All
Find
right,
some
guys.
Surly. I mean, come on, Paul.
Paul, thanks
World's
for
your
coming
oyster.
on, man. Yeah, it's a lot of places that $400 can go. All right, Declan, who's next?
Andrew will be next here on Vikings Vent Line. Andrew, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, Andrew.
So the Vikings should be 2-0, right? We all know that. I mean, they've shot themselves in the foot. These turnovers were ridiculous. The Brandon Powell one, I mean, what would that have put him at the 30-yard line? They would have scored a touchdown. I have no doubt. I mean, you know, and then the Justin Jefferson, I kind of forgot that was even a rule, honestly. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's right. It's a touchback. And it just drives me insane. I mean, honestly, Kirk could have had 6 touchdowns tonight. I mean, and we sit here and blame Kirk and it's Kirk's fault. I don't think it's Kirk's fault. I really don't. No. I mean, tonight was turnovers, just terrible play. I mean, if we would have scored the touchdowns there, Philly wouldn't have been running the ball down our throat. They'd have been playing catch up. They'd have been behind by 2, maybe 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And
then that Flores defense can get rocking and rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought the Flores defense looked great in pass protection. And then, you know, I get, we need to shore up the offensive line. I get that. However, you don't get Jordan Addison if you draft a lineman in the first round. And he looked great tonight. And I know you got to fix the defense too. Defense was horrible last year. They look a little bit more respectable this year. Obviously, the run defense tonight was horrible. But what else do you do? So I'm struggling with, you know, Kwesi maybe whiffed on this entire draft. But, you know, I think we need to give him a little bit more time, a little bit more chance. I mean, there's a lot to work with, a lot of old players that they had to get rid of, contracts that were just ridiculous. I don't know. I'm actually pretty hopeful still for this year. I thought the offense, they're looking great. I think they clean it up, get these turnovers taken care of. And I think it could be a good season still. I really do.
All right, Andrew from South Dakota, bringing some optimism here, bringing some glass half full. You know, one thing just on because there's been a lot of chatter about Kwesi, I feel like, with the audience tonight. I've heard some rumblings, and you saw on one of the clips that they showed in the war room of the draft coverage, like they had cameras in the Vikings war room, that it was Kevin O'Connell that was kind of banging on the table for Jordan Addison. Kwesi wanted to move back.
Yeah, he was definitely talking to him.
Stockpile like an extra 3rd-round pick or something.
Yep.
But Kevin was kind of annoyed or exasperated, and then you saw on the Vikings YouTube video, they put it out there, the end of that interaction, which was like, hey, Kwesi, like,
Yeah.
Like Kevin kind of saying,
we got
our guy. We stuck to the plan. We got our guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if, here's my point. If the 2002 draft is a bust, and if the main hit in the 2023 draft is because the head coach came in and was like, stop, don't trade back.
Yeah.
We need this guy. And it's almost a credit to Kevin O'Connell. How do you think ownership, if this season stays off the tracks and they go 7-10 or something, they miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the 2022 draft is a total bust, and now you're wondering what the future holds and who's the quarterback. Would you let Kwesi do a third draft? If you're the Wilfs?
Boy.
It's probably a bigger question for like a full show at some point.
Yeah, and I think the answer is they would, but I do think that there would be frustration. And again, what we don't know, and the Wilfs do, is what are the checks and balances? Because like when you hired Kwesi, you knew you were not getting a football lifer. You knew exactly what you were getting. So who's he surrounded himself with? That's my question. Again, is that Grigson? Like, is Ryan Grigson the football guy? Because I got serious questions then. And he's sort of a forgotten guy. Like, he's in the shadows. He comes out to practice and stuff. But there's just a lot of questions about how this is functioning. And we also don't know what O'Connell's role is. Like, we know he's head coach, but we don't know. Does he have a huge say on the 53? Does he just get to chime in and give his ideas? There's just a lot of unknowns. But I think if this season, if they win 7 games, and I'm hard pressed to think that they're going to win less than that, I think they will very much say, hey, we made some changes. You basically, because it feels like it, told us to run this thing back. We did, had success. Now we've started to make our changes. You've got to give us more time. I think that's going to be their platform. I don't think internally this team is nearly as up in arms as the fan base is right now.
I found it super interesting when that Andrew Luck doc came out through The Athletic on Spotify last summer, that legitimately every coach, player, teammate, rival, everyone went on that podcast to give testimonials of Andrew Luck's career, and the only one who openly declined was Ryan Grigson. And I mean, I get it. He's kind of the figurehead for the failures during the Luck era. Yeah. But I found that incredibly interesting that all these other guys were still able to come on and join, and Grigson was publicly, no, I'm not going to come on and talk about that.
Yeah, it is. It's there are questions about that structure for sure. And I mean, until they roll off a bunch more wins or you see some more development with these draft picks, the questions are going to linger. So the only way they can really fix the wave of negativity and some of the narratives right now is to go beat the Chargers and then go beat the Panthers and get back to 500. But I agree with Judd on that front. I think a lot of fans it's a 4-alarm fire here. If you're a player in that locker room, I think on one hand you do know that you're at a disadvantage in the trenches against a lot of these teams. But on the other hand, you probably feel like you beat those last 2 teams you just played. You out-yardaged them. You moved the ball up and down. You had some good defensive flashes here and there. And if not 7 turnovers, then you're probably 2-0. So you're probably not that dejected. You're probably fired up going into the Chargers game to show, dang it, if we just stop dropping the ball on the ground, we can beat a team here and get to 1-2. And they get the extra 3 days to heal their bodies and prepare and take a deep breath.
I'd get them back on that practice field tomorrow. I'd say,
full pads, 2-a-day tomorrow. That's what you would do.
We are going to do some Oklahoma drills and violate every NFLPA rule known to man.
I would say that if you're going to go home or you're going to go on a vacation this weekend, which is usually it's like a mini bye week, guys kind of go, you should have, I don't care if you're on an airplane, you have a football tucked
super glued
into
your armpit.
You know what I would do?
I would go get super glue and a football for every player, and I would super glue that football to that player's hand and say, for the next 10 days, we will surgically fix you when you get back right before the Chargers game.
Can't disagree with that strategy. All right, let's keep rocking here on Vikings Vent Line.
Carl, what's up, buddy, in your purple, incredible man cave you got here?
Carl.
Good evening, gentlemen. Well, first and foremost, football.
We're losing. Hold on, we're losing.
Carl,
hold on.
come closer to your mic a little bit. I think you're just cutting in and out.
Get rid of my fan. Is that a little bit better?
I think it looks great. The audio's cutting in and out.
That is not great. Okay.
Here, I think we're good now. Keep going, Carl.
All right, fantastic. Well, talking about the NFLPA rules, I don't think they'd really like the surgically attached hand suggestion as well. But at this point, don't get me wrong, I'm a realist and I have optimism for the rest of it, but that's no fun. Let's get dramatic. So we have two actual options here. Option one is we knock on Kirk Cousins' quarterback room door on Monday morning and we say, I think the New York Jets are in need of a quarterback, and we just throw all of our assets into next year. We get ready. You know what? I love watching Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson getting passes from Kirk down the field 60 yards. But you want to know what I would love even more? Shedeur Sanders doing the exact same thing next season.
Talk dirty. Talk dirty, Carl.
And then on top of that, we have the other option, which is, yes, we have a lot of great things that we saw tonight, and we have a lot of things to be potentially optimistic about. Okay, cool. Tomorrow morning, you're going to send the Philadelphia emails an email, and you're going to trade for Jason Kelsey. And you're going to sign that guard tomorrow. You're going to sign
Dalton Reisner.
You're going to sign Dalton Reisner this week, and you're going to get the playbook ready. And then you're going to go get a real interior defensive lineman that can put pressure up the middle.
Aaron Donald. Let's trade for Aaron Donald on Tuesday.
Where's this money coming from?
No, you need draft picks to make it happen too, but I don't care about draft picks. Trade them all. Aaron Donald.
That's a great question. At this point in the Kirk Cousins era, we have realized that at this point, this is not a team that can go into the playoffs and win road playoff games. That being said, we know that the only realistic way this team could go to the Super Bowl, which is the goal of this team right now, is to have the number 1 overall seed and do it at home. We can't realistically win multiple road playoff games and do it. So that being said, we need to have the pieces around a affordable, young, mobile, young quarterback. And right now, Kirk Cousins is none of those things.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I may or may not have a 5x7 framed of a Kirk Cousins "you just got beat by Perk Thuggins" meme behind me. I still have the Kirk Cousins shrine up here, but I don't know. We've reached almost week 3, and the thing I keep picking up and telling myself every morning is October 3rd, October 3rd, October 3rd, and October 3rd has nothing to do with the Vikings. That's the day the Minnesota Twins are going to win their first playoff game in 20 years.
Oh, wow. Let's go. Let's pump it up around here. Let's go. We got Carl. Carl, thanks for bringing the optimism. Thanks for bringing the neon light vibe here. I like it. The neon Knox.
Was that
vibe.
a rope?
It was a suit coat.
It was like a velour suit jacket. Yeah.
I liked it.
It was a good look. I think we need
Boogie Nights look.
Get Judd the same lighting in there. You know, I think we can
Purple
work
lighting?
on that.
Finch Home Solutions with their electrical work. They could maybe
exactly
do it
right.
for you.
Yeah.
Cody could come and fix everything.
Who's
All right,
next on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, let's go to Tom next year. Tom, what's up, pal? You are on Vikings Vent Line. How's it going?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
What's up, Tom?
Good.
Are those your Kirko chains?
I'm so good. No, it's not Kirko chains. It's little Viking chains. Tom from Scranton. One thing no one mentioned tonight is that Ivan Pace had a neck roll on, and it was like old school 90s linebacker.
Let's hit Ivan Pace with the football sounder.
Good stuff.
You get 35 years. This is what I thought, right? You guys always say the slogan is "Before I die," and I've always thought it's like, when I was like 25, 28, now I'm 35. It's just like, is it really, one before I die? I feel like let's build a team for like a decade, let it go out, see what happens. And then I thought that my dad was born in 53. I was born in 88. When he was 35 years old, I was born, and he was probably not thinking at that time.
Yeah.
Let's.
Isn't that trippy?
Guess what? Yeah, it's gonna happen quick. I'm gonna be like 73 soon, and you know what? I think I have to go one before I die now.
Dude, it's kind of trippy. We had a fan call in. I can't remember if it was like a write that down or if it was like a vent line session, but he said he cried. He was like 8 years old and cried the last time the Vikings went to the Super Bowl for a 4th one, and his dad told him, "What are you crying for? This team goes to the Super Bowl every year. They're gonna get one here soon." That dude was 8 years old and thought, next year they're gonna get one.
He's my age now.
But the only thing I take away from this game is let's embrace the suck, man. I know we're 0-2.
They never do though.
I
And
know
they
Judd.
don't.
I know Judd is
But they don't. They
dying
never-
to call for a tank right
Don't
now.
They
you
never
dare
do it.
get- I don't want Dalton Reisner. I don't want
dude
people that
Let's
can fill in.
clone Ed Ingram actually on Tuesday.
Yeah, I want 5 Ed Ingrams. Everyone just like rodeo that shit right into Kirk. I don't want to get hurt, but like, let's get the new quarterback. We got a team around him.
With this line's current state, they're going to get him. They're going to get him hurt. Like
Yeah.
I cannot see.
Kirk might die. That should be the new slogan. Kirk might die.
Before I die,
Kirk might die is the
Don't let Kirk die. But I mean, when you see tonight, because on a play where it looked like Ole might have snapped his ankle or something, Kirk got hammered on that. That guy hammered Kirk.
Dude, Ole Udo is one of the biggest dudes on the team, right? He's like 320 pounds.
Massive.
That dude lifted him off the ground and threw him, and he like broke his ankle on the land or
was like a
whatever
Seagal
the
film.
injury is. It was like a
It looked like
cue.
a Steven Seagal film.
I want to root for the Vikings again and like really be a fan, and I haven't since 2020. 2020 they needed to tear it down, and I've been in this like weird flux of like rooting, but not rooting at the same time. I feel like a dirty fan, and I feel like it's all because I feel like everyone finally coming to the realization, even if you're a Kirk stan, it's probably gone next year. Let's move on. And then, let's start being a family again. Like when we had Teddy, we all loved Teddy, even though he wasn't like fantastic. Like we all just kind of, the Atlanta game. We had some momentum.
Yeah, no, Tom, this is great stuff, Tom. Thank you for coming on. Please don't make this your last time on Vikings Vent Line. It has felt a little bit like a broken home, a broken marriage of Vikings fans. You've got so many different opinions about Kirk Cousins, and at the end of the day, he is now the 3rd oldest quarterback in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is the oldest, and he might be done.
Yeah.
And then it's Matthew Stafford by 200 days over Kirk Cousins. So whether you love Kirk, whether you're meh on Kirk, his age and contract situation are going to just make it imperative, probably in the 2024 draft, whether you play the guy in his first year or not, that you find that next quarterback. And maybe then it ignites some excitement and kind of brings people like Tom back into the.
But this team, but Tom's right. Like that's the thing. This team will never embrace the suck. We've urged them to before. 2020 is a great example, but they won't do it. They bring guys back. They try and rally. Like in some ways, Kirk is a microcosm of the franchise, right? Like when it appears, it's all dead and done. Like this game's done. Kirk brings you back. And so, yeah, he's right. They don't embrace the suck. And my fear is like, okay, so if you're never going to do that, how do you find the quarterback?
This quarterback class, if it's shaping up the way, like if it continues to shape up the way that it is right now, there might be 5 or 6 guys that are first round worthy. So unless all those guys are going to go in the first 6 picks, you might have a chance to move up to like 11 and get a good quarterback in the 2024 draft. So we'll see.
Hope so.
Before we keep rocking here, let's shout out our friends, the official dog food and pet food of Purple Daily and Score North here. It's Nutrisource. Nutrisource chicken and rice never quits in our home. Maya Mackey loves a gigantic scoop of the same food every day. And if she's this happy about eating the same thing every day, think about how much your dog might also love Nutrisource.
Yeah, and as Vikings fans, we want wins, right? But Stella Zolgad there, she doesn't care about wins and losses because her wins are when she gets trading reward treats for being a little good girl and going outside.
And you're not going to fumble that bag like the Vikings did tonight. Right?
And if I do, guess what? She eats every treat that falls out.
Yeah.
She recovers those fumbles. Yeah.
Yes, she does.
The Vinster started like this, and he more ended the evening a lot like this. This was a side by side basically of how Vinny started and how it ended for old Vinster. But luckily, those Nutrisource treats, you just shake that bag, and whether you're down 35 points or you've turned the ball over 4 times in 4 straight possessions, that doesn't matter to old Vinster. He loves his Nutrisource.
Yeah, I would say if your dog is sad about tonight's game, just have them bring the computer over to them, pick up their little paws, and have them type in NutrisourcePetFoods.com. And they can find a Nutrisource location near them somewhere. NutrisourcePetFoods.com. And a shout out to our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine. Well, throttle therapy is definitely in play this week, all for the next 10 days. Whether it's on land or on the water, it all starts at the Lodge. Power Lodge in Brainerd, Anemia, and Ramsey, and Miller Marine in St. Cloud. Judd, I think a lot of Vikings fans, it's going to be 80 degrees this weekend, could use a little throttle therapy.
Exactly right. You know what? Get away from it. Get away from the fumbles. Get away from the bad football, the big mistakes, and head out on your Bennington there and enjoy what's left of summer. Because Phil's right. There's time left. It's going to be gorgeous outside. Forget about this team until the Chargers game and do that through a throttle therapy on your Bennington.
Dude, is this from today? This might be before the week 2 game here, but I didn't see. Tankathon.com has an updated mock draft here.
God.
Can you just make me the solo screen here? I'm gonna hold my phone up to the screen for you guys. This is the Tankathon mock draft right now. Hold on, can you see this? No,
it's very bright.
No. You can't
very
see
bright.
it. Okay, Caleb Williams to the Vikings with the number 1 overall pick.
Well, they are right now the worst team in the entire league. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 0-2. All right, who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, a handful of guests still left here on Vent Line. We'll go to Christian next. Christian, what's up, Al?
Hey, boys. How are you?
Christian just sitting in a depressed,
sitting in the dark
room right now.
Are you in your car or are you in?
So I finally got into the room online. I had a softball playoff game. So I was driving, hoping I wouldn't get on until I got home. So I just got home. So it's perfect timing.
Oh, it's a great time.
Nice.
So I watched some of the game at my softball game, and I only have 2 things to say. One, how on earth did he not extend JJ? How? I think that could come bite us. You know where? Could potentially. He's just throwing up 150 yards again, like it's nothing.
God,
my next point.
Yep.
I don't know why fans are going to be upset. I want to lose. I think we need to lose. Why not at this point, right? Like, why make the wild card round to lose in the first round? Why? There's no point. So I'll leave you with that. Love you guys. And on a side note, before I leave, I'll give Kurt credit. He played really well today.
Yeah.
I thought he did. Like, I want him to throw the ball into double coverage to JJ. And the last point, Jordan Addison needs more targets. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Hey, Christian, thanks for coming on.
Good stuff. Man. Yeah, Jordan had 5 targets, 3 catches, a touchdown, which went for 62 yards. And besides the 62-yard touchdown, 10 yards in receiving. So he's not wrong there. Again, I will say it. If they were dedicated to the craft of tanking, I'd be like, okay, you know what? If that's what you're going to... Like, the Bears purposely got worse last year. They purposely traded guys that could start because they wanted to lose. This team's not going to do that, though. Like, that's the maddening thing. If you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed thinking of Caleb Williams and tanking, because right now the Vikings are the worst team in the entire league after 2 games. Your reality is this, and we all know this. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
they're going to win some games.
Yeah, they're not too good, that bad. Like, they're not a bad roster. They're not a 13-win roster.
No, they played some terrible football so far, but they are not going to win 2 or 3 games.
What if they lose at home to the Chargers? Do you call the Jets? Do you sit down with Kirk and say, "Hey, man, we had different hopes for this season, but we're 0-3. It's not your fault. My God, you just put up 364 and 4 touchdowns, but we just have to go in a different direction."
When's the deadline? When's the trade? Is it November 4th?
It's Halloween, I believe, isn't it?
It's
Halloween.
Yep, it's Halloween.
Okay.
You got 6 weeks.
So I think if you got closer, I think if you were bad at the deadline, that's when Kirk, if they were going to. I don't even think at 0-3 they would make that phone call.
I think he would veto the trade almost anywhere because I don't think he wants to be unsettled. I think in terms of family and kids and him, just the way he operates, going to a different team and system in the middle of the season, I think he's such a preparation guy that he would just say, no, I'd rather just pick a new team in March in my own controlled environment.
At the very least, if he did okay a trade, and I agree with you, Phil, I think that he would say no immediately, but if he did agree with to be traded, I think he would then instantly say, okay, what's the extension? And I don't think the Jets can commit at this point.
Would you rather have
Rodgers still in the books.
Kirk Cousins as the Vikings quarterback in 2024, or Aaron Rodgers coming off Achilles to finish the Brett Favre loop?
Well, the Rodgers thing would be far more fun, but from a football
to finish
standpoint,
what Brett Favre couldn't.
I'm not taking on a guy who would be older when he's joining me than Brett was, whose Achilles just popped.
Yeah. The fun factor would be interesting, especially if he came back and played well. Those Packer fans would be sweating it. All right, Declan, let's keep going here. Vikings Vent Line on Purple Daily.
All right, let's go to Justin next. Justin, what's up, buddy? You're on Vent Line.
Holy Hannah, this is amazing. You guys have made my day. I've loved you. I have hated you. I love the content. But all I have to say is I would like to thank NFL Shop with my new hat.
Nice hat. Nice hat.
I watched Brian Flores wear it last weekend, and I figured that I needed it. So I got two things. I want Kwesi gone. My second thing is, why on earth can we not build an offensive line? I just don't understand it. I am 6'5", 300 pounds, right?
Oh, you are?
Dude, I'll stand up.
They might need you out there, dude.
Start driving right now. Well, actually, don't. Take
Dude,
a cab.
Justin. Hey, can you give us a little footwork? Give us some footwork.
Can right now. Shoes are untied, but
that was the problem tonight. Ed Ingram's shoes were untied a little bit there.
No, it just drives me nuts that we cannot build an offensive line from the inside out. We got good bookends. We got terrible guards. This Bradbury experiment is over, and it just drives me nuts. But thank you for letting me on, and you guys made my birthday. I turned 36 today.
Dude,
so
happy birthday, Justin. We'll give you the horn there.
Awesome.
Attaboy. Keep your head up. You got a nice hat out of the whole thing anyways, and I'm not joking when I say they could use a 6'5", 300-pounder for the Chargers game, so get down
Thank
there.
you.
All right, man. Justin.
Take care.
Coming in here. Declan, who are we going to next on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, let's go to Sly next. Sly, what's up, pal? You're on Vent Line.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm calling from Paso, Texas. I know I'm a long way from home, right?
Nice. Yeah, no, that's it. It's so much fun just seeing where everyone's from. You know, obviously we've got a lot of Vikings fans in Minnesota here, but I think even we are surprised by how many Vikings fans are in literally every state and European countries and everywhere. It's awesome.
Well, from where I'm at, it's all Cowboy Nation here. And last year when we got beat so bad from the Cowboys, oh my God, it was so bad, so bad. But what I want to say is that Kirk, he actually did pretty good. I'm rooting for him. He did really good. I mean, the O-line being what it is, he did pretty good. It's just we had no run game. And Madison's not the guy. He's not the RB1. He's not. And thank you guys for making my day.
Yeah, man.
I've been watching you guys for like the past 3 years. That you guys are the only ones who talk Viking Nation here, and it's good. Thank you guys.
That's awesome, man. Sly down there in Texas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I thought we were going to
tried to warn you about Asamoah and Alex Mattison.
I thought we were going to get a little bit more of a committee here, though. That's the thing I don't get too.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't Chandler getting more run? What did he have today?
One carry for no yards.
Yeah. One. Yeah. What? So is he terrible? And if he's terrible, there's another indictment of the 22 draft class.
This is the thing about Mattison. He's a nice guy. He, in his prime years as a running back, as the backup, but as a running back in his prime years, averaged 3.6 yards per carry, or 3.7.
Yeah.
What would lead you to think that he's? I was trying to say this all no, Mackie. You guys weren't saying that, but people on Twitter, it's like, what did you think he was going to just be a 5 yards per carry guy? Now it's like that's not who he is.
I want the Boone breakdown though of the entire run game from a big picture because, this is something it is so bad that I think it extends beyond the guys trying to actually run the ball as well, and this does not take away the fact that Dalvin Cook is cooked.
Oh yeah, dude.
So like that's not, but I'd love to hear, and we can certainly get into this when Boone joins us next week. I really want to hear like his breakdown of a run game that just is doing nothing.
Yeah, we can definitely. Maybe we'll just queue up. Hell, they've only run about 26 times this year. We could probably just queue up. You want to just take us through 26 failed runs? Let's go.
Their offensive
Strap
production, like tonight, from a points total, is incredible considering they can't run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of what impresses me the most about Kirk Cousins tonight is that they knew the entire game after like the first 2 drives, well, the first 3 drives, that you were going to pass. And he still stood back there and completed 31 for 44 for 364, 4 touchdowns, and just kept. He's had a few of these games in his career where it's like, all right, even early, like when they kind of struggled. I mean, he had the Rams game. There was that Packers tie back in 2018. So credit to Cousins for not ducking it tonight. Let's keep rocking here. Vikings Vent Line, little therapy session late into the night here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel.
Jason, what's up, buddy? You're on Vent Line.
How's it going, guys? First time caller, long time listener.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Yeah.
I got some positives, some negatives. I think the team's actually pretty solid. Like, I'm coming out of these 2 games actually confident. They've been the best football team on the field both times. Like, everyone wants to embrace the suck, but we just played arguably the second best team in the NFC, and we were the better football team on the field, minus the dumb turnovers. If we don't fumble the ball away 4 times tonight, we beat the second best team in the NFC. Kirk's a top 3 quarterback in the NFC. But I got some problems with Kevin O'Connell. One, after you turn the ball over that many times in the game, 3rd quarter, 4 minutes left, it's 4th and 4. Look your offense in the eye and tell them to go get a first down and get one of those turnovers back. Instead, he punts it to Philly and they go on a 9-minute drive and kill the rest of the game.
Yep.
And then I add on top of that, when we scored our touchdown to make it 21-27, strategically, I think he should have gone for 2.
Yep.
Because if Philly goes and kicks a field goal, you're down 9. You go for 2 there, you might miss it, but then they can kick a field goal. You can still make it a tie game with a 2-point conversion.
Yes.
As opposed to, to me
that's one that like no one thinks of that aspect of like the odd time to go for 2.
Yeah.
But just to highlight, so they score a touchdown, and before the point after, it's 27-20.
Yep.
So they kick the extra point to go down by 6 because they're thinking if we get a touchdown. Then. But dude, it's a high scoring environment. You're probably not holding them to nothing the rest of the game.
Yep.
So to your point, if you go for 2 and you whiff, you're still down only 7. And by the way, you can score a touchdown and go for 2 the next time if you want.
Or go to overtime.
Yep. And so, but if you get it, you're down by 5. And to your point, it means if they kick a field goal, you're still down by 8, only a touchdown on the road.
There's only 6 minutes left in the game.
Yep.
And then timeouts by KOC. End of the first half, you're not stopping the Jalen Hurts QB sneak for a touchdown, right? So it's 2nd and goal from the half-yard line. They're going to run it on you 3 times, and KOC burns his first timeout. It didn't matter because we got down, and Jefferson obviously fumbled the football through the end zone. But that timeout, along with the one they wasted by getting the call in late during that drive, was 2 times to stop the clock. They couldn't on that drive to go score. And then, to be honest, I know we're not going to win, but the Hail Mary on the last play of the game, like that's a give up. What are we doing? Why are we not trying to lateral? Like my biggest problem with that play is always that there should be no offensive lineman on the field. You should have both your quarterbacks on the field and your 9 fastest guys. Spread the field wide. The quarterbacks can switch the possession. There should try something. Running a Hail Mary that they're going to catch it on the 25-yard line is literally just saying, you might as well have knelt on the football. Like, I don't know.
I was going to say, first of all, Jason and I are just tracking right now. This is great. So my first thought was you have 7 seconds left. They had no timeouts, but they had 7 seconds left. The Eagles are going to give you anything within 15 or 20 yards you want. So your first play there, and again, the game was going to be over anyways.
Yeah.
But like this is about strategy. Your first play there should be like a 15-yard out for 5 seconds or 6 seconds so you can throw a Hail Mary into the end zone.
Yeah.
Why are you taking one play in that situation? So, but
it just felt like a give up to me. I don't really know what that was all about. That's pretty much most of my stuff. The only other thing I had was the first 3rd down of the game for both teams. I mean, Harrison had Jalen Hurts lined up to knock him out 4th and 3, and Dallas Goedert just runs him over from behind, and they give him a first down because of it. And then our first third down is pass interference / roughing the passer, and the refs don't call that flag either. But I mean, that's just a little nitpicky thing. But I pretty much got most of my stuff in. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Awesome, man. Jason. That's good stuff there. A lot. I love the some of that strategy stuff, the go for two stuff. I'll never understand that. That is such an obvious math spot to go for two. But it's not a mainstream time to go for two because coaches don't pay attention to that stuff. But
his guys are there though. He's got the clock guy.
Is that guy not telling him? So that guy should tell him mathematically you should go for two right now. I mean, if it's a lower scoring game, then maybe you get away with not going for two because your hope is that you stop them. But like they're literally running the ball for almost 300 yards on you. So. Yeah. Now they scored a touchdown, so not a field goal, so it didn't really matter. But anyhow, let's keep rocking here. Who's next?
All right, a few more left here on Vent Line. Let's go to Christopher. Hey, Christopher, what's up, bud?
Hey guys, I just wanted to first point out. I think all this embrace the suck is kind of hysterical because we're going to be a very competitive 1-7 by Halloween. Very competitive.
Who's the one against? Who are they beating?
We are going to barely beat the Panthers in a trap game. We're going to play down to the competition. You know that. It is.
Can it be a trap game when you're 0-3 going in and desperate to say?
And whose trap game is that?
But
it'll be a trap game for the Panthers. Yeah, hosting the 0-3 Vikings.
No, I mean we're going to be 1-7, and then the scary thing is not Halloween. It's going to be we're going to lose a couple more. And then it's going to be the epitome of what a Viking season is. We're going to run up against the Broncos, the Bears, and the Raiders. We're going to win all three of those, and we're going to bump ourselves right out of the top two picks.
Oh yeah,
you know it. Put me on the board. 1-7 on Halloween.
Let's take note of this. I think Christopher might be onto something, and then they'll fight to the end.
Very competitive 1-7.
Yep, I like it, man. That's good stuff. Thanks for coming on, Christopher.
The reason I'm calling actually is because my biggest beef with the Eagles situation and the Vikings situation is Jalen Carter should be on our team. How in the world do we allow the Lions to come up from 32-12 last year and not get their first round pick? The first round pick they use on Jalen Carter this year. Think seriously how much better a defense is this year. It's dominant, and think of how different our franchise is with that guy. I just feel like Kwesi should be on way thinner ice than we are giving him credit. Coming up from 32-12 and not get a future first round, he's got to go.
Man, yeah, add Christopher to the list of a lot of people that are just kind of there right now with Kwesi.
And I live in Wisconsin. I live in Green Bay. I live a life of irony, so it doesn't get much worse for me.
Ash Robin, baby.
Amazing, man.
That's where I lived.
Enemy territory. Mm-hmm. All right, Dex, who's next here on Vikings Vent Line?
All right, so George claims. George, were you at the game?
George, can you hear us, George?
Yeah, I think I can hear you.
Okay. Were you at the game?
Yeah, I missed a lot of Vent Line because we were on the subway from the Philadelphia game. But my main nitpicks are we're not throwing down to our wide receivers. We're throwing down to Alexander Mattison and then, of course, KJ Osborne. But, I don't know. Just during the game, while we were there, it was just like we were checking down way too much. And I missed a lot of Vent Lines, so maybe people are talking,
No, there was,
already saying that.
12 targets to Madison and KJ Osborne. I mean, Osborne did have the one touchdown, but that's a lot of targets to your fourth and fifth targets.
Yeah. And I got 3 of my buddies also. We've been doing this for 6 years, going to away stadiums. And they said, KJ can't catch a cold. And our defense can't stop a nosebleed out there. So we're in trouble. So I guess, that's what I got to say. And
awesome, man. And you guys avoided Eagles fans breaking bottles and stabbing you. You guys are all physically intact. You're okay.
No cans thrown at you.
Honestly, and you guys bring this up quite a bit, but I went to the Randy Dobnak game for the Yankees in the playoffs. Uber driver Didi Gregorius hit the grand slam in the 3rd or 4th inning. Those fans were 10 times worse than what we dealt with in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So I would appreciate if you guys didn't bring up the Dobnak game all the time, because I hear it and I'm like, man, I don't want to relive that those memories. So
I blame Judd. Judd.
It's our plight in life, man.
Yeah.
as Minnesota sports fans, it's our plight to have to relive those.
Yeah.
George, hey man,
Thanks, George.
Thanks for your service tonight in Philadelphia. and
Yeah,
all
we
your
didn't have
friends
enough
there.
fans out there. That was a big. Like I said, this is our 6th year, and we have not. I mean, we've been to the Cardinals, Tampa Bay when they won the Super Bowl that year, Miami, and every year it's just a big crowd of Vikings fans. But Philadelphia, I don't know.
We're scared.
Everyone's
You're
scared
scared,
in Minnesota because no one was there. It was like you look to your row to the left and your right, and there was no one around you. So I don't know.
We don't like confrontation. I think that's the.
And I also
problem.
think that if fans were there from Minnesota, they don't wear their Vikings jerseys as much.
Yeah, they're wearing like a Jason Avant jersey or something,
Yep.
or a Hank Basket jersey.
Harold
maybe.
Carmichael, Wilbert Montgomery.
So those are made up players.
No, those are old school.
Ron Jaworski? Ron Jaworski.
Ron Jaworski was quarterback for those teams. Yes, that's exactly right.
All right, Dex, who's next? Vikings Vent Line, Purple Daily.
All right, we're going to finish it out here with Seth. Seth,
Dude.
you're walking the streets. How's it going?
I don't know if you guys remember me. I was there for the loss against the Wild last year in the playoffs. I was actually at the game with George. Not with him, but I was there.
Oh.
The fans.
So you're
were,
like walking the streets of Philadelphia right now.
No, my friends are actually in a bar right there. But I've been waiting to get on the show. I had to take the subway too, so I got cut off. I didn't get to see all of Vent Line. But dude, brutal. It's like when you get there, I live in Philly, so it's like it's hard to, get out there, see Kaprizov, see Jefferson, see all the dogs. But when you see him, it's like, holy moly. And then, like I was there for the fumble on the punt. I was there for right in front of me. Jetta's dropped that, or fumbled it into for the touchback, literally like 30 feet right in front of me. And you know what? Do you guys remember when I don't remember who it was, but I think it might have been Matt Boldy that hit the post to tie the game with an empty net in the playoffs? Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. We are living in a simulation of BS as Minnesota Vikings fans.
It's crazy.
Or as Minnesota fans. I love the before I die, but you know what? Our luck is just screwed. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what we do. I honestly, like seeing those players out there, seeing Jalen Carter out there, dude, dog. Before this game, you guys are talking a lot about, I watch every episode. You guys are talking a lot about the defensive line eating up the Vikings offensive line. You saw it on a few plays, but the Vikings were ready. What we didn't do is when, we needed to just hold on to the ball and execute simple plays. We didn't execute simple plays. We could have scored 40 points that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, we could have scored 40 points that game and made a statement that game. We could have won the Bucs game 35-17.
Yeah.
But, it's a simple thing. Our parents, decided, let's do this thing in Minnesota. We were
they could have gone anywhere, man. Like they could have gone to Chicago. They could have gone to Boston.
We could all be Boston guys
here.
right now.
Judd, your parents weren't even like from different country.
Yeah. My
and
dad,
then they landed in L.A. for a while. They could have just stayed there. You could have just been a Lakers fan.
And then Baltimore, and then here. Why
So
here?
Listen, before I go, I love you three. All right, love you three. You guys
Seth,
are dogs.
we love you,
right?
man. We love
Keep
you.
grinding. I'll be here for when the Wild fall short in the playoffs. Hopefully, we get to see the Vikings in playoffs. You guys have some good takes. I don't know about all the mark that downs. Had a lot of Reds last time.
Yeah,
but
we like to forget about those.
I'm hitting 2:30 on the
grinding,
season.
dogs. All right, you'll see me again.
Get us early.
Awesome, man. Seth, great. Be safe out there. All right, Seth's out there. We're roaming the streets of Philadelphia.
Great bar scene.
Tonight.
Great bar scene there. Downtown. Fantastic.
Well, there's a pretty lengthy epic therapy session there. It's I said it before. They were probably supposed to lose this game, but it's a combination of the way that they lost it after the way that they lost the first game at home against the Buccaneers makes it feel so much worse for fans. Kevin O'Connell had a bunch of sort of positive, like, hey, the fact that we've lost both these games by 6 points, despite all this crap, we should be feeling good about ourselves. But, at least they get a few extra days to clear the mechanism, as
and find
Kevin Costner would say.
interior offensive linemen, please.
But
maybe find a big fat tackle, defensive tackle too.
You're just gonna find a guy that's gonna save your season going into week 3?
No, not save your season, just be an upgrade. Like I'm not looking for Pro Bowlers. I'm just can you go to the used car lot and maybe find a better used car?
I'm skeptical that going into week 3 you're gonna find like Dalton Reisner's gonna save the season.
Well, yeah, but do you want them just to stand pat and say, you know what, Ed Ingram's
you can
gonna
try
turn
it.
around?
You
Exactly.
can try it. Bring the guy in that like couldn't get along with Russell Wilson last year and caused a big locker room blow up. With a very similar personality in Kirk Cousins, by the way.
And now slaps Kirk around.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
That might actually be kind of fun.
Could galvanize this whole team.
So we'll see. Tomorrow, live, 9:00 a.m. Central Time on the Purple Daily YouTube channel with our hottest Vikings takes. I believe I've got the pie chart of blame here this week, and then some silver linings.
Enjoy.
So, yeah, thank you guys for enjoy the pie chart.
Yeah, enjoy the pie chart.
Thank you, Judd. I will enjoy carving that up into a million pieces.
Get that dough out tonight. You start to knead that dough. You get the roller out. Get that thing going.
Really excited. Thank you guys. Again, subscribe button, like button here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die, and it's statistically unlikely after an 0-2 start, unfortunately.